It's been a lot of years since that video was made, and a lot of things have happened since then. I made that video when I was in my 30s, and I'm now 41. And if you're new to this, gangstalking is a 3-point system, basically, where a person who the powers that be decide needs to be handled and silenced is put into basically a prison where they're marginalized from society, and they don't get to have any kind of life at all. It's a 3-point system where you get in-person psychological harassment or psyops by people in public spaces, either on foot or in vehicles. They love being in vehicles because then they can just drive away, and it's a power trip. I'm in a car, you're walking, I have the power. Number 2, chemical controls and chemicals used to destroy the target's health, to discredit them. During Bush, when this was really bad, I've actually experienced being drugged with things that were part of very nasty behavior modification programs, and actually things that seem like neurointerrupters, like where I would not even know my own name, and I would be just a drooling vegetable in a way. Maybe I knew my own name, that was the only thing I knew at that moment, and when I, got whatever it is off of me, they put it in your clothes, which is an age-old way of poisoning people. I mean, go see the movie Elizabeth. Gangstalking is using old-school intelligence knowledge of poisons and delivery systems for those poisons and assassination with the new progresses in technology. Obviously, this is intelligence services in on this. When I washed off whatever it was, then my mind came back to me, and all of my body, where that piece of clothing was red and burned. So they're using chemicals in a way that people used to historically for assassination or whatever, intelligence services, sneaky poisoning of people. But they're also using chemicals, and they're using old school ways of destroying people's health, like gas leaks, which are on purpose, putting stuff in your food, just really simple stuff. And then there's chemtrails, which ties into mass mind control. And that's not my department, you're gonna have to read up on it, but I've seen the things, and I've seen the effects where if you don't shower once or twice a day in certain cities, you're gonna feel like crap, and you're gonna get depressed. And I wonder if that's what's wrong with all these home bums that we see, who are maybe targeted individuals who are just gone, couldn't deal with this, didn't know what was happening to them, and they don't shower, and they're half out of their minds, and they are afraid of hygiene. I just wonder if you're targeted, they try to make you so depressed that you don't have good hygiene, and whatever's in the air just makes it worse. And chemtrails are not conspiracy theory. They've been proven. I don't have a website for you. You're going to have to research it yourself. But it's been proven that they've taken chemical samples from the air and from, the delivery systems, the airplanes, and found that there's, content which is used to control human beings. The third is technologies. The technologies are supposed to be classified, but there's a video I saw from a television program where the military, it was like something on some science channel, history channel or something like that, and I have it on my list of videos on YouTube, and the military is sitting right there admitting that they can actually make, what do they call it? Easy conflict resolution. I think they did something like, it's in the video, you'll see them talking about how they went into Haiti and had airplanes overhead that beamed down stuff into the radio stations that made the Haitians believe that God was telling them to have some kind of peaceful outcome of this conflict or something. And the military guy is very, cock of the walk. He's very happy with the fact they have this capacity. The thing that kills me is that they'll admit to this in a video on a television program that anybody can see, yet when you talk about this in the context of it being misused as an abuse of power or to cover up for corruption, all of a sudden you're crazy, it doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah. Give it a break, okay? That's just arrogance. And that is a lot of what they're about. Power tripping and arrogance. Technologies, as outlined in the Mind War paper. You nearly need to see the video on that. A YouTuber named Marsboy does a lot of activism, and he made a video about the Mind War paper, and you can read it right on the internet. It's outlined in the 80s, back in the 80s, by Michael Aquino, a PSYOPs expert, former military guy, Colonel Michael Aquino of PSYOPs, and General Vallely. And take note that Michael Aquino is a longtime player in the world of Satanism. And I am a person who's into free will and religious freedom. But when you start bringing that and its ideals into power, like the military, with the results that targeted individuals have seen, you've got a little bit of a problem. Michael Aquino was involved with Anton LaVey in the Church of Satan in California in the 60s and 70s, and he was in the military then, PSYOPs expert, security clearances. He was the high priest of an offshoot. He went on his own from Church of Satan and started the Temple of Set. He was the high priest. He's now the former high priest. The high priestess is now someone, or recently after him was someone who's an African American female, and her name escapes me. But there's all kinds of infighting in that clan with that scene, of course, right? The problem is that seems to be tied into what a lot of the survivors of programming have to say, tied into MK Ultra survivors, about satanic ritual abuse and satanic ritual being used as kind of a way to program the human mind. So that is the only reason I think it's important, really. But it is important. Gangstalking is used to control people who are targeted individuals, and a lot of these targeted individuals don't know why they're targeted. I'm fortunate enough to know what my situation is. There's a cover story, of course, and then there's what's really going on. A lot of us are specialized targets, which means, I made that up, but we're targeted because of being survivors of mind control programs, human experimentation, satanic ritual abuse. Most of the time it's all tied in. High-level programming. And you've seen a lot of these survivors, Kathy O'Brien and Kathleen Sullivan and a lot of other people in the 90s who made a video with Ted Gunderson, who does a lot of activism. And it's the same story. All the people have pretty much the same backgrounds, the same story every time. And this system is used to handle those of us that are coming out because they don't want testimonies.